What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you back on the channel. On today's episode, we'll be looking at how to find or how to source a quality supplier. This is a pretty underrated tip, and yes, it may be an obvious one, and you might be asking yourself what it is. Well, watch this video to find out how to source a good quality supplier, one that's not going to jerk you around, one that's going to give you exactly what you want, a quality product that can match the level and sometimes exceed the level of the top brands that you see in the industry. So if you're an aspiring fashion entrepreneur and you're wondering where have all the good suppliers gone, well, watch this video and you're going to find out. What's up, design family, and welcome to Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you here. On this channel, we discuss all things sports fashion, graphic design, manufacturing, and technology. We'll discuss key topics, answer pressing questions, and provide actionable steps on starting your own product line. If you're interested in any of the above topics, stick around. You're in for a good one. What is this secret to finding and sourcing quality suppliers, you ask? Well, it's quite simple, but with the state of the world that we currently find ourselves in, this may be a bit difficult, but bear with me. It's to attend quality trade shows. When it comes to fashion, trade shows are going to be your best friend. Yes, they may seem a little bit outdated, but there is something to be said about having this physical interaction with the people that are going to make your clothing. Number one is, when it comes to why should you even try to attend these trade shows, is that there is a selection effect to the types of suppliers that are even able to attend these trade shows. Just think about the costs and the time associated with going to these trade shows, flying your employees out, training them, setting up the booth, paying the membership fees, paying for the booth itself. The types of suppliers that are able to actually afford this kind of activity or this kind of business move are going to be of a higher caliber. So by nature of that, you're going to get people that are the top of the barrel as opposed to the bottom of the barrel. If you think of a B2B platform like Alibaba, yes, it's a great place to get your, let's just say, an overview of what is available to you, and you can actually do a lot of searching and a lot of finding. But pretty much anyone with an internet account can set up an Alibaba account. So you're not really vetting these suppliers, or there's no selection effect there. This is why I think trade shows are so undervalued, is that just by attending it, you're already at the top 1% of the potential pool of candidates of great quality suppliers. Number two is that attending trade shows is an extremely effective use of your time because there's actually a high concentration of suppliers all in the same space. If you've ever attended one of these top tier trade shows, you'll notice that the venues are huge and there's multiple halls, and each hall has a specific theme. For example, some halls can categorize suppliers by the types of products that they put, whether it's yoga wear or it's textiles, so on and so forth. Some halls will categorize suppliers by the region of the world they're in. Some halls will categorize the specific industry that these suppliers are in. So you get a lot of specificity, but at the same time, the halls are done in a way where there's a high concentration of the types of people that you want to meet all in the same space. So let's just say you want to specifically work with suppliers that are from the Far East. Well, you go to hall B1 or B2, and all of a sudden you have access to literally thousands of booths of real human beings that you can directly interact with side by side to compare and contrast. And this is honestly such an effective use of your time, and there's such a high ROI on your own time investment. So I cannot recommend attending trade shows enough, specifically for the concentration of quality suppliers that you have immediately in front of you. Number three, and honestly, personally for me, one of the most important parts of this episode, is that attending trade shows allows you to facilitate in-person connections. And in the day and age that we live in, where we have immediate access to pretty much anyone we need just by using our smartphone, there's something to be said about being able to meet someone in person, look them in the eye, shake their hands, and just developing a meaningful in-person connection. It's going to get them to take you a lot more seriously. Again, there is a selection effect from your side that you've actually taken the time to come out to meet them. So they're going to take you even more seriously, and they're going to remember you. It's amazing what you can do when you actually meet someone in person for the first time, when you're able to explain to them what your business is about, what you're doing, what your long-term visions are. They're able to kind of reciprocate that as well. And you're just able to develop this strong relationship that honestly you could not do with months of digital communication, what you can get done in 5 to 10 minutes of an in-person meeting, you cannot get the same amount done in 5 to 6 months. I promise you this because I've been through the same exact ringer. There are suppliers that we met directly through online platforms, and there are suppliers that we met in person. And the people that I truly value my relationship with, the people that I do the most amount of business, that I get the most amount of work done, are the people that I met in person time and time again. This in-person connection is something that is so rare in this day and age, and do not take it for granted. Be a people person, be able to connect with people, be able to get into their hearts and watch the ROI, and watch yourself be able to actually develop people that are on your side, that want the best for you, and you want the best for them. Number 4 is that in person, you're able to test successfully your language barrier. Over text, it's so easy for suppliers, especially from Eastern Asia, to cover up the discrepancies in their communication by using auto-translate, by taking the time to actually type out what they mean. But in person, you immediately get a sense of, what is this person's ability when it comes to communicating? Is this going to be an issue? Are we going to have a language barrier that could potentially actually force us into areas of misunderstanding, of unnecessary back and forth, of delays? And while you could potentially overcome this sort of language barrier via text, in person, you're immediately going to be able to test, does this person understand? Can they communicate effectively with me? Are they able to reciprocate the level of communication that I'm giving? And are we able to move a project successfully forward? This is something you don't get on text. So this is one of my main reasons as to why I personally like attending trade shows and meeting these people in person, especially in the globalized economy that we currently live in. Number 5, and this is also quite an important point, is that you get to see, test, and ask questions about samples that the factories or these suppliers are displaying in person. When you're at these exhibitions, all of these suppliers, booth to booth, will have their items out and about ready for display. This does a bunch of things. Well, number 1 here is that it allows you to see the items in person, and it allows you to test the quality of the items in person without having to ask for shipment samples and without having to have that time delay. You can immediately see what the supplier is all about, what are the materials they're using, what are the construction techniques they're using, and immediately get a vibe for, is this the quality I want or not? 2, you can ask the right questions about these items. You can ask them about the production techniques. You can ask them about the labor that's used. You can ask them where they source their materials. You can really quiz them to get into the nitty-gritty of the items and to really determine if they know what they're doing and if this is something that they are truly passionate about. Also 3, and this is also one of the hidden benefits of having these samples out and about, is that just by walking around, you're now using your eyes as opposed to just reading the different names of the suppliers or taking a wild guess in terms of which supplier to approach. You're able to see from the corner of your eye, and if you like anything, you think the quality is good, you're going to approach them. Also, you're going to be able to determine what types of product categories each supplier is really good at. I'll give you a specific example, and sometimes you may not even know that this is something that you're looking for. I was once at a trade show and I had a list of different suppliers that I needed to approach. But as I was walking, I noticed a specific type of supplier that was offering men's formal wear made out of synthetic fabrics, so sportswear fabrics, and everything was laser cut and seamlessly bonded. This was not even something that I even thought was possible, or it never crossed my mind. And just by seeing it, I had the sort of inclination to go up, to ask questions, to connect with the supplier, and now they are one of our biggest partners when it comes to production. So all of these things combined are some of the main reasons that I highly recommend that you as a fashion entrepreneur take attending trade shows seriously. Do the research to find which trade shows are in your area or which trade shows are nearby and ones that you're specifically interested in. There's trade shows that are specifically for ready-to-wear fashion. There's ones that are made specifically for sportswear. There's ones that are made specifically for textiles. I cannot recommend them enough. Definitely do your research and find out which ones are going to be for you. Well guys, that is it. That is a wrap on this episode. Hopefully you've learned a thing or two about how to find and source quality suppliers. Honestly, attending trade shows is one of the most undervalued experiences that anyone or any fashion entrepreneur can have in this space. And yes, I get it, with the situation we're in, it's a bit difficult, but as we come out of this sort of phase of history, I highly recommend you take the time to go out and meet these suppliers, shake hands with them, make a meaningful collection, and find or see what happens. I promise you, you'll develop some of the best working relationships of your life if you actually take the time to go out and meet these people in person. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please let me know in the comments what types of content you want to see next. Also, We offer one-on-one consultation services with me directly, so check the link in the description and we can discuss pretty much anything you want, from setting up your own fashion business to creating unique and authentic designs, or what type of packaging and customer experience you should have. And if you're having any specific issues towards scaling your business from, let's just say, X amount to Y amount, you have issues that you want to address, definitely we'll hop on a one-on-one call. I'll take the information. I can give you tailored feedback specifically for your experience. So definitely check the link. And if you guys have any other questions or you want to see other types of topics, leave them in the comments below and we'll be happy to get back to them. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Fittdesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.